Welcome to the Director's Commentary podcast for Heart, the City Beneath. I'm Grant Howitt, and I'm joined by Christopher Taylor, and we wrote the Heart RPG. In these episodes, we'll be going through the text of the book and discussing how we came to design the game. For more information on Heart and our other titles, go to rrdgames.com. What's that coming over the hill? Is it a monster? Is it a monster? Nearly. It's the second half of the Heart Adversaries chapter. Hello, my name's Grant Howitt and this is Chris Taylor.
Hello.
Hello. Do you know that song's about ketamine?
I did not know that.
It is. It's about getting absolutely bladdered, as it were.
I see.
Absolutely hoofed.
The only thing I know about it is that it's one of those songs with a posh version.
That we wrote.
Oh, yeah. The one that we wrote it.
What's that is cresting the rise? It is a beastie. Is it a beastie?
The gab mileage, I can't conceive it. I've never been this far from the five.
We had a fun time at university.
Anyway.
And then we left and grew up.
Now we're adults. Gnoll Incursion Team.
Yeah.
Let's do our job like adults.
So Gnoll Incursions were something which had come in from Heart. I think we wanted from Spire. We needed a reason to put Gnolls in the game. Yeah,
and to get this ridiculously cool art.
Oh no, sorry. For Spire itself. So there is an expedition team mentioned in the Heart, and they've got much better technology than anyone else in Spire, and they're poking around and looking at it. And we just brought them back here, and they have wonderful art.
So good.
Felix drew the source first.
Yes.
So like the pyramid where the Gnolls come from, and then tried to make stuff which looked like it had been scavenged from the source, which is such a cool idea.
Yeah, and like the Gnoll Incursion Team as part of a game is a really good way of getting somebody who like massively outguns you.
Yeah.
Because all of their tech is so arcane that it's essentially magic.
Yeah.
And you can just go, yeah, they've got this. They've got a las cannon. That's fine. You know, you can put what you want on them,
and then you can steal it.
Yes,
which is the fun part. We've got god beasts who are mainly there because we needed to have stats for big monsters.
Yeah. So like they're in the resistance 30 end of the spectrum. Like
they don't die.
They're just they're big bags of hit points basically that populate the forest. So you know they are godly god beasts.
And then, like on the next page, we've got Heart's Blood Beast, which I'd like to talk about for a bit. But I would like to mention harpies.
I was about to say you've skipped over how cool harpies are.
Like harpies, I watched a lot of. I used to watch a lot of nature documentaries. My partner really likes them, and especially ones about birds, and especially ones about birds of paradise. There is one on Netflix where Stephen Fry just his way through about an hour of this little fellow's doing a sexy disco dance. I just don't care for it. Treat these animals with respect, Fry, or I'll come for you. Not in that way, but I'll come at you. Bowerbirds are a bird of paradise. Mm-hmm. So birds of paradise all hang out on this island. Maybe it's Madagascar, something like that. I don't know.
That seems appropriate either way.
Yeah, I like that. It's a Madagascar style place where where evolution just was like, sure,
we're just gonna go fabulous rather than useful.
Yeah, and like the closest we get is maybe a peacock, and even then they're a bit battered over here.
Yeah.
And all birds of paradise have these really cool mating rituals where they have crazy dances and plumage displays. And like some of them, like they'll recruit a team. So like there'll be one guy who's dancing, and then 4 sort of backup dancers who take over when he gets tired.
Literal wingmen.
Yeah, literal wingmen. But one of the most interesting ones is the bowerbird, and so bowerbirds decorate their sort of mating dance floor area
disco.
Disco basically with stuff. Yeah, and again, Stephen Fry just populates it with hot disco music and just completely runs roughshod over the sanctity of this occasion. They decorate their bower with some of them like blue things, so they'll get like blue stones and blue flowers and like biro caps. And anything that's blue, they'll bring it in and arrange it out prettily, so they look nice when viewed from a certain angle. And I thought, what if we made that horrible?
How can we make this awful for everyone?
Because, like, it's not, like, I guess they're kind of I think harpies are much more trad horror.
Yeah.
than Heart. Like they don't necessarily relate to the world very much. They're grim in a way that a lot of the stuff isn't.
Yeah, there's not really a redeeming feature of the Harpies. So they bring back all of these nice things, in quotation marks nice, and then summon the female of their species.
Mm-hmm. Who is a big demon.
Who is basically a big demon.
Mm-hmm.
And one of the things that I really like about the Harpies is that the size of them is kind of hidden in the text.
They're about dog-sized, aren't they?
I think they're a little bit larger because it says once a harpy has gathered enough shiny things, it will kill smaller creatures, rats, mice, feral piglets, and pitchkin. Now, a pitchkin, if you look at the combat art, is fairly large.
No, okay, it says each male harpy is a magpie-like corvid about the size of a house cat.
Yeah, but it's the fact that they will kill pitchkin and drag them back.
I imagine like you get like six to eight of them, and they've got enough like fish hooks and knives strapped to their legs. You can probably take down a pitchkin easy enough.
Yes.
Yes,
yeah, like the male harpies aren't necessarily a problem.
I think there's a solid adventure.
Oh yeah,
in the Harpies, and like put them in D&D. If you take anything from this book and put it in D&D, it's probably the Harpies.
Oh yeah, because like you've got a wizard whose stuff is just going missing.
Yeah, that's fun. And you've got like I don't know, like a halfling village whose children are going missing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And a butcher who's just going broke.
Yeah. Stole all his cleavers. But that's Harpies. I'm very proud of them. They don't really fit into the game very well, which is probably why they don't have a drawing. But something that does have a drawing is the Heart's Blood Beast,
which is sort of the iconic monster of Heart.
I think the Angel's the iconic monster of Heart.
Yeah, but you don't meet
fair.
angels that often, right?
No, and
the Heart's Blood Beast you can just run into.
I would like to doubly thank Annihilation. For this, because like
this is the bear with faces in it.
Yeah, this is the bear with like the fact that they have a bear. Somehow, like, so in Annihilation, there's a bear that learns how to cry out with human voices. And it's got too many teeth. It's this mangled, weird, blind, messed up thing. Because it's like, again, what if evolution just went, yeah. And for some reason, we picked that as our monster. It's going to be a bear.
Mm-hmm.
We say canonically, a bear has never been into the heart. Which is
it's just people's memories of bears that the heart is re-remembering for itself.
I'd like to pull out one part of the Heart's Blood Beast thing, because like all this stuff in here I wrote broadly. Chris and I wrote it together, and then I sort of went over and punched it up, and then he looked at it, and then I went. But there's a sentence here I wrote, which was: a normal-looking deer might have, on closer inspection, no discernible mouth on its head. It's only when it squats over food and disgorges its entire stomach from a ragged maw in its underbelly that it becomes apparent that something's wrong. I hate that.
It's the worst.
That's really hot, like a starfish deer.
Yeah. Also, interestingly,
that's horrific.
There's almost a model for that, like a miniature.
Oh,
Kingdom Death has.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure Kingdom Death's got one. Yeah.
No, but it has a goat where like its rib cage is also a mouth, and it just sort of eats you that way.
How many tits does it have?
Not enough for Kingdom Death.
No.
But yeah, like your Heart's Blood Beast is your generic monster for Heart.
If you want to have something big and scary to come along and stomp around,
yeah,
you basically applied this template to an existing animal. What do you reckon? Like, what do you reckon's the least, like, the most unsettling thing to apply the Heart's Blood Beast template to?
Tortoise.
Hey, do you want a fun fact about tortoises?
Depends. Well, I really like tortoises. Will it lessen that?
No, it's great.
Okay, cool.
Tortoise comes from the same root as Tartarus.
Okay.
Greek hell. Because the Greeks believed that tortoises were from or of Hades.
That makes sense.
Tartarus in some way. Yeah, because they're like little caves, aren't they?
And also they're like chillingly inevitable.
Yes, that's true. I wouldn't want to be pursued by a turtle.
No.
The Heart's Blood thing, like it would grab onto you and bite you, then retract its head into its body, and then keep retracting you all the way in
until you're on its land now.
and then its head rotates back out.
No, it stays facing inwards, and then it's like those boss battles in like a Final Fantasy game with a giant turtle head.
Yeah,
and you're tiny inside this like internal landscape of tortoise.
It could be that brilliant part in every unimaginative game where you fight something with a big head and 2 hands on a cliff.
Yes, except without the hands. Yeah. Just maybe just like a scattering of lettuce.
Well, like the hands could just like sort of invert and pop inwards as well.
Like one of those like medical cabinets with the gloves built in.
Yeah, precisely. Heart seeds.
Heart seeds.
It was fun coming up with the different domains for these.
It was. I can't remember why we needed heart seeds. Like what the idea was behind them.
So I think the idea, I wanted a means of introducing some weirdness early on into the game.
Yeah.
Because I think one of the challenges with Heart is that the people you play are not masters, but adept at exploring. And it's also like you generally have quite a lot of control over how deep you go, unless you get some weird fallout. And so I wanted something which would give you the capacity, which is like valuable, but very dangerous. And the deal about heart seeds is they up the stress level by 1 of anything that happens around them.
Yeah, I mean they're kind of like unexploded World War II munitions.
Yeah,
like they can just be found, and that's a problem you've now got to deal with.
The other thing as well is I think we wanted to paint the heart as a living, curious, fallible creature.
Yeah. Not
in the way that we'd understand creature, you cannot kill me in any way that matters, etc. But the idea that where is it? I think it's the technology ones. Yeah, so it makes clocks and devices out of flesh and teeth and like bones and calcified things. And I kind of wanted to write especially the technology, the religion, the ones which relate to people, as the heart, as being the equivalent of delvers.
Yeah.
So angels are rocking up and they're solving problems and they're killing people, and a heartseed is there for research purposes, to try and find out what's going on, and then it dies and it absorbs the information and goes back in.
Yeah, and the thing I like about them is that they're all, whilst being weird, they're all intentionally generic. So, like, the description of the religion one is an altar to no god in particular.
Yeah,
like it is
quite
just
get it.
A altar, not I've seen this altar, I'll use that. Like I've seen a Christian altar, it's got a cross on it, that sort of stuff. It's just, well, I know what altars look like, so I guess I'll do one of those.
I will also note that the drawing of this and the description of the Haven heartseed is why we had to take out the "there are no children harmed in this game" disclaimer, because it does look like a child is being harmed, especially if you cut that child free, then go and flog it to a dude at the back of a pub.
Yes. Technically, it's not a real child, but it's close enough that we didn't really want people, to be upset. Yeah. Not like we were worried they'd be upset with us. Like we didn't want to upset anyone.
No, we just figured that we might as well play it safe. We we've gotten a bit vague with what the heart is, but like back on the first iteration, something which I remembered recently, Chris. Do you remember we used to have big tongues flopping around?
Lots of big tongues, yeah.
And the idea was that it like there were just sort of separate sense organs which would go in and do some absorbing of stimuli and then go and report back to the heart.
Oh yeah, I mean one of the monsters that got cut was a sensory organ creature, which was basically a beholder.
Yeah.
That would float around, get data, and then kind of pump data like a boba straw back into the heart, like thick gobbets of data.
Yeah, like a beholder, but with tongues instead of eyes. I'm glad we got rid of that.
I am as well, although might just pop it in my home games.
We put it in Sanctum, I'm now realising.
Did we? Shit.
There's the angel which sits on your
Oh, yes, yeah, sorry. I thought you were talking about the actual creature.
No. Like the idea of the heart tasting you is there in Sanctum, which we'll get to, but it's a much more personal thing.
Yes, very much so.
If you say the name of the market serf Nux Ab Crofer, it has to be said in Nux Ab Crofer. Is his name.
And Boswell Lieutenant.
Hello, Boswell Lieutenant. I don't think tenant is a word for red, so I don't know how that got in there.
That's an odd one. Delete it. Cross it out in your copy.
Yes, please, cross that out. Or just write in, I don't know, crimson. You'll note that we stole this idea from Margaret Atwood.
Yes, we did. I've read those.
I've read the books that she wrote. In The Handmaid's Tale, women were handmaids, so like...
I know the plot of the...
Yeah, the breeding caste of women.
Yeah.
If they're owned by someone called Fred, they'll be called Offred.
Okay, yeah.
So I sort of nicked that. And Margaret, if you got a problem with that, fucking come at me.
I reckon I could take you.
Yeah, right. Yeah. What are you, like 80? How have you?
I mean, legally speaking, they probably could.
Legally, we're okay.
I'm sorry to say this, mate, but they've got more clout than you.
I'm up and coming. What's she done recently? How many RPGs does she put out on itch.io, huh?
Alarmingly few. No, that's true.
Yeah, very few. Mirror spiders?
I love the mirror spiders. If you look at the picture of the mirror spider, one of the mirror spiders is fighting a mirror version of himself, and that is literally the cutest thing in the book.
Oh, so cute!
Mirror spiders are cool. One of the reasons we put them in is because in Spire we talked a little bit about the other types of spider.
Oh, did we?
Yeah, there's mentions of things like metal weavers.
Yes, that's right.
That use like rust and stuff to make like essentially razor wire webs and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
And we wanted something of the spider for heart.
Mm.
And honestly, just like a normal spider doesn't really cut it.
No, it was quite hard to make them. Because, I mean, you can't add that many legs before you start losing the essence of spider.
Right? Like, you add one, and technically, you're in smithy ground. But what if they're fractures of God?
And that is again, much like the harpies, much like the what's the word? The cannibal owl hive? Flightless owl hive.
Yeah.
They are a relic of an earlier draft which is stuck around. There's something slightly grander to them, I think.
Yes.
They are a bit pathetic because they're all like 1/1000th of a god. The only friends they have are each other and they hate each other.
Yeah, and it's just the way that people, like the High Matriarch of the Church of the Moon Beneath, who uses one to do her hair. The spider believes the relationship to be a sort of marriage. I love them.
Oh, right. Also, it's quite hard to get mirrors in fantasy.
Yeah.
So this would be quite a good source of mirror, I imagine.
That's very true, actually.
But yeah, you know what? I said they were grand. I take it all back because one of the descriptors has stuck shards of mirror onto their back to look more impressive to other spiders, and we've all been there.
Haven't we? I'm gonna make myself a little bit shinier so I look better.
It comes from again from a nature documentary about this rhino who was just desperate to fuck. And like he was this little guy and he had this shitty little horn and it didn't work. The lady rhino was like, yeah, whatever. There's this big beefy rhino lad over there. So he got upset and ran into the bushes and got some stuff stuck on his nose, on his horn. And so he had a really big branch stuck to his horn. And so the lady was like, "Oh, look at this guy!" But then he was too short to fuck her.
Packing his horn with socks.
Just like okay, yeah, my dude. Do you want a beer or something?
The Mirror Spiders is a really nice sort of intro to how sad we make the legendary creatures, legendary adversaries.
God, yeah, because the spiders are doing all right.
Because so these spiders are fragments of God, and weapons that hit in many insects at once, such as brooms, ignore their protection. So you've got these like astonishing fragments of a cosmic power, and honestly, your best bet is to shoo them away with a mop.
Absolutely.
And I love that. How they're grand and pitiable.
Pitchkin are the closest thing we've got to orcs.
Yep, they're the goblin.
I'm not super happy about having goblins and that sort of thing. Part of the challenge in writing like a bestiary like this has been saying like, okay, these things are people. These things aren't people. And Pitchkin walk that line. I think I think they're zombies. Broadly.
Close. Yeah, they're intelligent. Well, vaguely intelligent.
Yeah, not really. No, not especially. They don't have writing or anything.
No, but they have tactics. That like in the same way that like wolves and raptors.
Yeah. Yes, that's fair. They have
cunning
tactics, but they don't have culture. Put it that way.
Yeah, but also like Pitchkin is one of the things in the book that are there almost from an accessibility angle.
Okay.
Like his heart is. Honestly, if all you've ever played is 1 or 2 games of Dungeons and Dragons, it's really hard when a game doesn't just have the word fighter for a class. It's really difficult to get into. So Pitchkin is a really good intro monster of like, look, these things are sticky back and awful, but as a GM, I can kind of just put them in like a goblin, right? They're just something I can get my head around, and they're a bit weird, but they're definitely not, mirror spiders.
And they've got some fun fallout as well where they explode.
Yeah, don't use fire on them. They are literally made of petrol.
Well, Use fire, but like carefully.
Yeah, real carefully.
We've got we've got the Red Saint,
who's a very specific adversary.
Yeah, who's snuck out of Dark Souls,
and it's from one fracture that you probably won't go to.
Absolutely not. Yeah, like again, Chris was. We were on holiday when I wrote the Eight Heavens, and I think Chris was tired or lazy.
Yeah, didn't stop Grunt from certain stuff.
Drunk.
That was probably it.
Yes, we had largely unfettered access to beer so cheap it's free.
Oh yes, that's the one.
In Portugal, Chris didn't stop me just putting in special stuff. But also, they're cool, man. That they grow black iron blades out of the earth.
Oh, absolutely. Do not get me wrong. I'm a big fan.
But they are not.
They're fucking niche.
Yeah, you're better off having a bear with antlers or something.
Exactly. You know who isn't niche?
Who's that?
The Signal Box Cultists, because you should just put them everywhere.
Absolutely, they're the best buddy.
They're so good. Look at him with his little lamp friend.
Oh no, he's so cute. Love that drawing.
Yeah, it's so grim. Like his coat is nailed to him. He's got no real eyes, and his mate is a torso that he's using as a torch. It's
tremendously grim. I'm very happy with it. I like the idea that I think we want to show the effects of the madness of the Vermissian and of the sort of general technology.
Yeah, and combining that with the influence of the heart.
We go on to mention the similar mystery cults in the heart, the followers of the Midden Mistress, the Wretched Galvanic, the Seers of the One Moon. I will note the followers of the Midden Mistress is part of a mistype in Spire. It's supposed to be I think they're like the 6 hidden mistresses of the Vermissian.
Yep.
But it came out as the 6 Midden Mistresses, and we decided to stick with it rather than reprint it.
Poop Queens.
So there's Shit Queens. Sourceborne constructs are taken from the 2019 game Control.
Pretty much.
Almost exactly. They're there. Don't fight them. They're very sharp. They're horrible to fight.
Yeah, and also the single picture that has antagonized layout artists and all sorts of people through the design of this book is the Sourceborne construct art, because nobody can agree which way up it should go.
So many, it was upside down for a while.
It was, and I love it.
Yeah,
because it's looking straight down a tunnel. You think?
I was viewing it as like the junk mage there is lying flat on their back.
But then what's the other guy doing?
Well, he's that's the Incarnadine's laying on his side, getting ready to do a shoot on it, in case it steals his wallet.
Well, I mean, traditionally I would have been, either just standing on the floor there.
Wait, he's hiding. Yeah, no, it's not great.
Like there's a perspective issue with this picture, and it's a great picture, but it's caused no end of trouble.
Yeah. Skeleton courtiers.
The skeleton courtiers are important to talk about.
Are they?
Yes, because they absolutely, under no circumstances, should be in this book. However, I love them.
I like the idea of skeletons being absolutely loaded.
Just
not money wise, just fucking car parked.
Yeah, absolutely trolleyed.
Yeah,
they shouldn't be in here because they're from a comedy fantasy game.
Don't fight the courtiers, okay? Leave them alone.
No, they're for talking with, and
hang out with them.
Get in some sort of bacchanalia with them. They'll love it.
Tunnel brigands are there because we had to have some people in.
Yeah, and it's just a shortcut. If you need an enemy who can fight, tunnel brigand.
Yeah. The walking wounded, I think, are the worst thing.
I hate them and will use them any chance I get. So
absolutely horrible.
The walking wounded are leftovers from the last fight of the 33rd. And a lot of them are the 33rd.
I like how vague the 33rd has become. In the like they've passed into legend in as much as we don't really know what happened. Yeah,
like we came up with various ideas for how the 33rd ended, and I mean the kind of canon one that's an open secret is that they did a demon pact or something. They caused an incursion. They did all sorts of stuff, but it's like worse than an incursion, whatever it was. Like we don't know, but it's
stuck.
It's stuck, and it was absolutely the wrong choice. You know what I mean? Like. Sometimes setting off a big bomb might be the right choice. I don't know. I'm not a military tactician or in any way associated with ethics. But whatever the 33rd did, it was the wrong choice. And the walking wounded are the sort of sealed together conglomerations of some of the people that, in quotation marks, survived.
It comes from, so I guess the the World War One inspiration. That we drew heavily on a lot of images of British soldiers in World War One to try and get their hands. I think to try and evoke some sort of sympathy from the last time that the British military was involved in something which seemed like, tragic.
I mean,
rather than
World War Two.
Well, yeah, no, that's fair. But I think as well, like the Somme. Yeah. Was broadly viewed as like, well, this is a fucking atrocity. Like this. Yeah, this is a
absolutely.
Nightmare.
No, I'm just saying, World War II also tragic.
Yeah,
a lot of the other conflicts not so tragic.
Increasingly less tragic
as time goes on. Yes,
it's the images of soldiers blinded after mustard gas attacks, like with their hands on each other's shoulders and their eyes bandaged, walking in a line to try and get out of combat or out of danger. And that image is like, cool, okay, what if we had to fight that?
Yeah, and like a lot of the grimmer pictures of World War One were of the survivors.
Yes.
Because the dead were dead, and a lot of people who in quotation marks got through World War One died on the battlefield and then lived 20 more years.
The lack of understanding of PTSD. But also the fact that was just when we were discovering cosmetic plastic surgery. You couldn't really graft stuff properly. So if you wanted say to have sorry, this is all anecdotal. So if I'm wrong and you're a doctor, my apologies. But they would stick your nose to your arm, and then cut open slits on the flesh of your arm, and then have the skin grow over your nose. but they would just leave your arm stuck to your nose for several months. Until it grew over in an attempt to try and do some reconstruction. And hats off to them, they were doing what they could.
Yeah.
But as far as I'm concerned, as far as I view it in terms of the horrors of war, it was when we first hit modern weaponry in a serious conflict. As far as
there were other conflicts before this that did in fact use fairly modernized weaponry and modernized military tactics, but certainly nothing.
We had it, and they didn't.
Yeah, and also there's an element of, in the other conflicts, we had fancy technology, nobody else had anything. Yeah. Whereas here, it was used by both sides.
Yeah, they just sort of ground into each other.
Yeah.
It's difficult. I'm not a historian, but we were mainly drawing on it for an inspiration point of view, for a way of trying to get into a tragedy, a way of trying to tap into the idea of fighting for something which you cannot understand.
Yeah, like that you believe in, but you don't understand fully.
Yes, and that's
that protecting people back home is a good idea, but you don't really understand why the death of one Polish guy in one very specific part of the world, because of one peace treaty signed a week before or something. I can't remember the history. It was really specific. Means that thousands of us have to die in a field here right now. And yeah, that's what the Walking Wounded are. They're just manifestations of that awfulness, which is kind of why I love them.
Yeah, they're kind of they're absolutely horrible, and I love having them around. It is one of they fit into the, I'm going to say 40% of monsters where it's a blessing if you kill them.
Yeah.
Not like the skeleton courtiers. They're having a great time. Leave them alone.
Yeah, if you're killing skeleton courtiers, you've just wasted a session.
Yeah.
Because that could have been a party.
Just imagine the stories they could have.
Oh, so good. Mainly about sitting under a tree getting drunk.
That's true. And also, it's not like they use the sap. They just make a puddle.
Yeah.
They don't have any innards. Just sit underneath them.
Yeah, it's great.
And then the final monster, before we move on to the Legendaries. Should we do the Legendaries as their own thing, or should we keep... Because this has been quite a short chapter so far.
Let's run through.
Yeah, okay. There's Wretches. Wretches are horrible. They're a sort of wet heart's blood beast.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just going to quickly read the descriptors because it gives you everything you ever need to know about them. It was once 4 dogs, but now it's melded together. A crocodilian shadow barely seen. A snorting, finned, pig-like creature with a horrible wide mouth. They're just icky, and honestly, you could probably just stab them and it's fine.
Thanks, Bloodborne.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep, your wretches, your dog crows, and your crow dogs.
Yeah.
And do you love dog crows or crow dogs?
I like the big crows that flap around and go bah! And you hit them with your hammer.
Yeah, crow dogs.
They're very cute. The dog, the ones which are like dogs which run around and have crow faces. No time for them.
No, they can do one. They can jog on.
Legendary.
Legendary adversaries.
We promised 5 of them. We'd only written 3.
Awkward.
We'd done the Basilisk, we'd done the Gorgon, and we'd done, I believe, the Minotaur.
Yes.
And much like with the with a lot of the stretch goals, we just said, yeah, fuck it, all right. So we had to come up with some more. But it's interesting to set yourself challenges like that.
And honestly, the Legendary Adversaries came out so well, in my mind. They all got... So we wanted something that was technically, in a lot of cases, difficult to fight. Not necessarily because the numbers were high, but because the situation in which you always found them was difficult.
Yeah.
In a lot of cases, obviously, their stats are fairly good. But these things are meant to be a sort of campaign climax. Like, killing these, or honestly, getting to fight one of these would probably give you a zenith.
Yeah.
Like, it's that sort of level. They're not something you could just... Well, you can if you want, but not something you should casually just drop in.
Well, they've got story to them. They've got, like, they are... I don't think anything else is, like, named.
No, it's true.
Correct me if I'm wrong, but everything else is...
Some of these are barely named.
Well, 2 of them have names.
That's why I said some of these. Like, Blight Unending, the Basilisk, is not its name.
My point is, the Basilisk is the one. There's the one of it.
Yeah, he strikes me as a James.
Yeah, maybe a Clyde.
Something like that. Yeah, something normal,
or a Bruce. Chris has a classics, not degree, an A level.
Oh
classics.
Yeah, that's essentially university level.
But I mean, basically, right? You just don't spend 3 years fucking about eating soup noodles.
Exactly. I went to Greece. I know what it's about.
Yeah, I saw a Parthenon.
I've done history, me.
Yeah, great.
Really specific history.
And like you'll note as we go back through the monsters, there are a few Greek things like the harpies. We had sirens.
There are a lot of Greek ones, but a lot of them got changed, through various evolutions, so they don't really look Greek anymore.
Mm-hmm. Whereas these are pretty much on the nose Greek.
Yes, absolutely.
Aside from the Huntress, I think, who's like, there's not really a Huntress monster, but there is a Huntress goddess.
Yeah, and I mean, the Basilisk is primarily from the Dungeons and Dragons level Basilisk, which admittedly does draw on all of that mythology that goes before it, but it's the end point of D&D that we then take from.
Yeah, like in D&D, it's a big horrible monster. It looks at you, you turn to stone. I think that's right, or is it the cockatrice?
That's cockatrice, I think. Basilisks are all poison and nastiness.
Yes. The Basilisk is poison, and like it corrupts the area around it. 13th Age had cracking rules for Basilisks.
Oh, solid stuff.
So in the bestiary, really good stuff. The idea, I did some research into them because I like researching monsters, and Basilisks were so ugly and unpleasant that they could break rocks by looking at them.
Yes. Yeah.
And I think we want to try and get into the idea of venom and unpleasantness and death and corruption. Yeah,
and it's like this poison and entropy. And
in my head, it was about the size of a Komodo dragon, and it had an expression like Droopy Dog.
And it's already in the house before you get in there.
But Felix drew him big
and lumpy,
with a face like 2 hands.
Oh, it's just,
which I like.
Oh, it's like a kid just went nuts with some Play-Doh.
Oh, it's just fucking gross. Yeah, it's just 3 endure curse checks. On you go.
Yeah. That's it. You'll notice it doesn't have stats.
You can have it. Yeah, it doesn't fight you. It wants a friend.
Delvers do not have to attack the creature, although they will want to, as even looking at it fills them with compulsive loathing, and can instead attempt to make friends with it. This will kill them.
Yeah, it kills you. It's that's like the Basilisk. I feel is possibly the purest expression of heart monsters.
Because like when we do, especially in things like Spire, when we stat out end bosses for campaigns, they're humans.
Yeah, drown them in the bath, please.
You drown them in the bathtub. One good dagger stab and they're dead.
Yeah.
And this is a legendary monster where if you can take all the shit it throws at you, if you successfully attack it, it dies.
It's not even throwing it at you.
No.
If you can walk next to it,
you win.
Yeah.
Like, you take D10 stress on a failure or partial success in a dangerous action to make an attack, and if you succeed, congrats, you win.
That's if you get past the first 3. The first 2, just to sort of get into the neighbourhood.
Yeah.
There's a load of like half dead deer and shit.
And like
anyway,
this is a creature that eats rotting. Like it's a scavenger. It eats rotting stuff that it finds. This is stuff that it has accidentally killed. And it's rotten because of its effect by the time it gets to it.
So one of the things about the basilisk is that like the way you would spot it, like the way you could tell where it was, like if a basilisk got to your town, it was too late.
Yeah.
Like because you can't. It's the sort of the in antiquity, the way you'd spot a basilisk from far away would be the birds dropping out the sky around it and crashing into the ground. So let's move on.
Let's.
Yes. To
Nicodemi shadows dams the seedlings, the Gorgon.
I love Nicodemi.
Also very sad. Now
he's basically a sort of weaponized incel.
Yeah. Yeah. He's upset because everybody else, essentially, according to his cult, got married.
Mm-hmm. And turned each other to stone.
They turned each other to stone, which was the purest form of love for them. So they're together forever. And he was left on his own. And he's trying to turn mirrors. He's using mirrors to try and turn himself into stone.
He's just there masturbating, as it were, magically.
Yes.
I like telling stories through mechanics and through monsters and through things which the players can interact with. And I think that Nicodemi the Gorgon is a really cool way of talking about Elfir.
Yeah.
And about like the absurd madness that they go to, and like and the fact that they've got too much money and they're all kind of wizards. Mm-hmm. And then to take that and then take whatever strictures there are on them, inspire and remove those and just push them down. It's okay. This is what happens. Like this is an absolute nutter. But the fact that he's got a huge library of occult information makes him quite useful. And also, if he looks at you, you die.
Yeah, and it's the fact that you've got an enemy, like quite a dangerous one.
Very dangerous.
Who is suicidal. Specifically suicidal. Like it doesn't want to just get stabbed.
No, he wants to turn to stone.
He wants to turn to stone, but like his entire being is wrapped around trying to get himself to die in a particular manner, which you can't provide him with.
No. Although I do quite like the idea of a sort of Queer Eye campaign where you've got to either give him the strength to love himself or the spell to turn himself into a statue.
That would be lovely.
We've got the Hydra next as well. I think the Hydra was the last one we did.
I think it was. I think we had the idea for an Hydra.
Yeah, a Hydra sounds good.
Yeah, bouncing around the back of our heads for ages. When we decided that it should be basically a plant.
And then basically a place.
Yeah, like those enormous jungle flowers that smell of rotten meat and have roots that go for miles, but there's only one flower. Mm. But, this fuck-awful drawing that Felix did with all these teeth and the protruding teeth.
I do like the little chibi versions of the characters.
Yes. The Deadwalker is gorgeous in that picture.
Little Darkest Dungeon Deadwalker. So cute.
He's so good.
The Hydra interests me because dragons are quite noble.
Yes.
And the Hydra is definitely not. The Hydra's like a mistake.
It fights dirty.
Yeah.
And, I'm facing a dragon. It's going to have a breath weapon. It can fly. Do this. I just killed you. Oh, no, I didn't. Oh, dear.
I don't believe that it grows new necks when you cut its...
No, but, I mean...
Because there's enough of them.
Its resistance is 6 per neck, and there are over 100 necks in the forest. So,
Yeah.
It's quite difficult. So you've got to get through all of the Hydra to get to the middle of the Hydra and then stab it.
There's Lady Salvacious Grindle, her of the hunting clubs.
Yep, who we mentioned earlier.
Yes, we mentioned earlier. She is, again... she's not an elf, she's a drow.
She's kind of fallen in love with the heart and been corrupted by it a bit. And I don't necessarily mean that, the heart is a corrupting influence.
Changed.
But yeah, she's no longer classified as ancestry drow. It's ancestry, heart's blood, beast that looks like a drow.
I get the impression that Salvacious Grindle hit her zenith about 20 years ago.
Yeah, used it, and this is what happened.
Yeah. This was Chris's, actually. Chris wrote the stats of this one.
Yeah, and that's why she has a gun, not any special abilities.
Yes, and also Bisturi, which I quite like. I would have named it after a bird or something.
I can't remember what that means.
Oh, it means a thing.
It does.
Nice. But she is like we mentioned in the beats section of the advancement section that you could have
scalpel.
Great. In what language?
French.
Cool. You could have like become hunted by the huntress as a medium advance.
Yeah.
As a major beat, and like hell yeah. Like she seems like a really cool person to try and find and then ask information of while she hunts you.
Well, that's the thing. Like, this is the. So we have a weird obsession with moneyed perverts.
Yeah.
Which is...
Yeah, they're my favourite kind of pervert.
So, just to explain what moneyed perverts are, if you've ever seen one of those, like, torture porn horror films, where, like, Hostel, I think, was one of them, where these incredibly wealthy, awful people will pay thousands to watch somebody get tortured to death. That's a moneyed pervert.
Now, I just want to get ahead of something as well before we get any letters in. I'm not a moneyed pervert. I mean,
we're not wealthy.
We do all right, and I'm into some stuff. But I wouldn't pay thousands of pounds to watch a poor Hungarian teenager get eviscerated.
No, but they're good humanoid enemies to really hate.
Yes.
Lady Grendel is falls into that category of moneyed pervert.
Mm-hmm.
So she will absolutely have a very long, very polite conversation with you.
Oh, she'll make you a drink.
She'll make you a drink, and then she'll set terms.
Yeah.
And then she'll give you the exact head start that you were both agreed on and signed.
She will turn you into a stag.
And then good luck. And I like that with the Fallout here, there's the most specific rule in the entire game that we've ever written.
God. Yeah, Jesus, yeah.
So Fallout Wildest Hunt is where the huntress changes your form into a sort of chimera, like gives you, turns you into a deer, lion, or whatever. However, you gain the evade knack, flee the huntress. So you're only good at running away from her.
That's very kind of her, really.
It is, isn't it? Like, that's the point. She wants it to be hard. Like, she's the Predator from Predator films.
Yes, actually, yeah, she is. Actually, yeah, she is. Almost exactly.
Yeah, like, it's because the Predator made the aliens, right? It's the concept, as far as I remember.
I believe so. I believe he did, yes.
Yeah,
well,
I think so.
They breeded the aliens.
Yes,
as a
something
hunting
like
species,
that.
And then they got
and that's what she does. She wants to fight the most dangerous game, and the most dangerous game at least needs a gun.
The most dangerous game is, turns out, a double shark.
Who's a junk mage.
Now, if you like rules, you'll hate the Minotaur.
The Minotaur is a real great monster.
So, hey, why don't we make this a campaign? Bye!
Yeah, so when we were coming up with things, we wanted to get the labyrinth virus, which pops up in Spire quite heavily in here. And I cannot remember which role-playing game it is, but there's a thing about Minotaurs building labyrinths outside of... Like, they build their own labyrinths wherever they are.
Okay. I don't know.
I think it's mentioned in a setting in one RPG. I'm sorry, I cannot remember what it is. I apologise to whoever did that.
Claim we made it.
Yeah, sure. And the fact that, like, Labyrinth and Minotaur are the same, they're equivalent almost, is a really interesting thing for me.
They're part of the same concept.
Yeah, and one of the problems I always had is that when you're dealing with Labyrinths and Minotaurs, the Labyrinth is always the same.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, obviously layout changes, but, you know...
But it's the same concept, Like, it's not very fun to move around either.
And the Minotaur is always roughly the same. It's always the bull-headed sort of deal.
Yeah, you never see one with the body of a bull and the head of a man, do you?
No.
Yeah.
But the idea that the labyrinth is prison for the Minotaur is a lovely trope, rather than the Minotaur being master of the labyrinth. And also, I just really love the concept that it's too big for it. It cannot fit in its own labyrinth. And when we first came up with it, the creature was a lot larger than you see in the art.
It was a big sort of baby man.
It was this huge sort of baby man, but what you'd see coming down the corridor is literally a finger. And then, like, it would drag itself forwards with that, and then, like, an eye would just kind of slide around the finger. And it was like... It's like trying to get a Volvo through a straw. Like it's beyond big beyond small, and it was playing with scale because I have a real problem with scale. So I love putting in horror stuff that messes with scale. And honestly, like the whole thing is just keep making checks until you escape, because if it catches you, you're dead.
It taps into the Terry Pratchett idea of L space, which is that all libraries are the same library. And like, so all labyrinths are the same labyrinth, but like once something gets complicated to become a labyrinth, if it gets really complicated, then it becomes the big labyrinth, and then the Minotaur starts coming through it.
Yeah, and I mean,
and there's something.
The labyrinths pop up a lot in our works, and the reason for that is they were part of the first mythos we ever made.
Oh god, yeah, the labyrinthine.
The labyrinthine was one of the I'm going to use the word deities.
Demons,
whatever, powers, but basically gods of this weird pantheon, and
in a settingless game.
Yeah, and they've stuck around ever since, and honestly, they will continue to stick around.
Yeah, there's a labyrinthine, the fourth sister.
Yeah, fourth sister's one of them as well.
She's a demon in Spire who showed up in Unbound, and the parasitic who hasn't come back yet. Although I suppose that's most of Heart.
Yes, that's true.
Right, let's stop
because we're done.
I think that's the end of the book. Yeah, there's some appendixes and guff. There's nothing hugely interesting in there.
I think that one thing we should do, and we'll append it on the back here. I would like you, Grant, to look at suggested media.
Okay.
As we go through and make our apologies.
Okay.
So in the suggested media thing, we straight up forgot a lot of them.
Yeah.
Like, you'll notice if you've still got a copy of the first PDF, Darkest Dungeon's not on there.
Yeah. Yeah, we forgot about Darkest Dungeon.
Like,
which is a shame.
It was literally on our design document.
Mm-hmm.
But when we were writing out the suggested media, we did it from memory rather than from copy and pasting, which was wrong.
It's also the last thing you do. And so Chris was... not 100% engaged with the project at that point.
No, that's fair.
Of proceedings. Chris had rather
gone to sleep.
Yeah, that ship has sailed. So
if you think that there should be something in that suggested media thing, you're right.
You're right. We probably know about it, and if we didn't know about it, then we wouldn't have put it down, would we?
Exactly. And like a lot of stuff on here, we've talked about time and time again, like Annihilation, Bloodborne, right? But there's a lot of things in here that don't make a lot of sense if you don't know why they're in here. And honestly, that's the music.
Yeah, it's just music we happen to like.
It is just music we happen to like. But for me specifically, Salvation is a Deep Dark Well by the Builders and Butchers.
Oh, cracking album.
Not only is it a stunning album, but it is Spire and Heart.
Yeah, that's fair.
That album is the theme song to both games.
What's the name? Southern Gothic? Is that how you?
It's kind of Southern Gothic.
Not quite. It's a bit jumpy for Southern Gothic.
Yeah, like Southern Gothic normally leans more towards the blues end.
Folk goth.
Yeah. Either way, it's fairly shouty.
Yeah.
But it is 100% the soundtrack to both Spire and Heart. While all the stuff that I did was done listening to their albums.
Yeah. Whereas I did Borders by Empty Set, which is just imagine if you got a hi-fi and kicked it down the stairs over and over.
Oh, just really hated yourself.
Just really fucking hated your ears and your neighbours.
It's just the worst. I can't. I tried to listen to it.
I'm kind of upset that you tried.
It wasn't honestly. For you, Chris.
It's really not good to listen to, but it does something. If I would also say, if you pick anything out of this book, out of this list here, Annihilation, of course, is brilliant. But please read Ficciones by Jorge Luis Borges.
Honestly, any Borges. This specifically, but
yeah. Okay, so Ficciones, it's all of his greatest hits, basically.
No, that's what I call Borges.
Yeah, but Feet Rag and Bone Man. But it just in terms of I'm going to call it pocket reality, like small bespoke realities. There is no one better, and that is what I enjoy. And that is it. I think we've got some example equipment which we put in on the reprint because people asked for it, which is fair.
I'm sure to call them cowards and move on.
Yeah. And that's us. So thank you for coming with us. We've got a few more episodes left.
Yep.
We've got the source books to go through. We've got an interview with Felix, an interview with Mary. And we're good, so thank you. And we'll see you for the next episode.
Bye.
Bye. You've been listening to the Director's Commentary podcast for Heart, The City Beneath. I was Grant Howitt, and I was joined by Christopher Taylor, and we wrote the Heart RPG. For more information on Heart and our other titles, go to rrdgames.com.